And on you.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of David's Podcast, episode number 8. And we're coming to inside Lasso Radio on this beautiful campus of Pacific City College on this hot summer day with, as I said last week on my 7th episode, I will give you weather reports, which I will tell my guys raised by ABC7. Today it's hot. It's a summer day in LA. It's warmer, and it will be warmer again tomorrow. Back to you, Mark. ABC7. Eyewitness news. Anywho, and today I have a guest, and she's back. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm happy to have her back on the podcast. And hopefully this time I get her last name correct because on the 4th episode I mispronounced her last name, and hopefully I get it right this time. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back to Gary's podcast, Danielle Rapue.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, David. And you were close. It's Danielle Rapue, but that's okay. It's not a common last name. Yeah, you're one for two. So thank you so much for having me back. It's a pleasure to be back on your podcast here. Episode 8, season 2.
Season 2.
Here we are in National Poetry Month. And today is actually, or this week rather, is National Library Week. Nice. So what a perfect time to have the librarian back on your podcast.
Right, perfect timing because we booked in the last minute. And I'm glad that everything worked out.
Me too.
And especially, I'm officially putting you back. You're officially putting you back on the. No, you're officially back on the hot seat.
Back on the hot seat.
All right, and now, Danielle, are you ready for the 5 questions that I have for you for Gary's podcast?
Yes.
And by the way, before we start later today, Danielle will give us an exclusive, which, as you can see, we have like bookmarks if you're watching this on YouTube. All right, Danielle, your first question is, what books do you like to read when you're not working at the desk?
Yeah, so when I'm not working or reading for work, I love to read self-development books. So people have different names for that genre. Some people call them self-help books. I call them self-development because you're trying to develop yourself personally. So some of the books that I've read that I really enjoyed in that category, Atomic Habits is a really good one about building up effective habits and staying in a routine, because for me, that's something I personally struggle with is maintaining a specific routine and doing something over and over. So that really helped me come up with strategies that will work for me to stay on top of different habits I want to keep up in my daily life. For instance, like making sure I go for a walk at least several times a week, or, making sure I make some time for writing, journaling, things that are important to me, but sometimes can go lower on the priorities when I have, other life circumstances that are coming up. Another one that I really enjoy is the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. That's by David Covey, I believe. Another really great one, especially for any of our women listeners, is called You're a Badass by Jen Sincero. That's a really great book. It's really empowering, I think, for any gender, but especially for women.
Nice. And by the way, I was going to say, speaking of women, Danielle, you're the first woman to be back-to-back as a guest on Gary's podcast. So more history has been made, especially Danielle representing all the women on Gary's podcast.
Well, thank you so much for allowing me to be part of the history here on David's podcast.
All right, now your second question is, what's your favorite book?
That is so hard because there's just like a mother that has so many children. You can't say you love one child more than the other. You just love different things about your different children, right? And I say that as someone who's not even a parent, but I can imagine it's probably not okay to say that you love one child more than the other. But one that sticks out to me the most that I think has really had an impact on me that I go back to. It's very rare that I go back and read a book a second time because there's so many books I want to read, so I try to read something new. But one that I go back to is called The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. And it's a fiction story about a young man who goes on a really adventurous journey, and a lot of things happen to him during this journey that are really representations of different life journeys that we all go through. So different life lessons, and some of them are really difficult lessons, and some of them are really tragic, but then other ones are really empowering and happy. So it's really interesting to see kind of the path that he takes. And one of the main messages from that book is that you really have the power to believe whatever you want is possible for yourself. And that if you really want something, the universe will conspire to make sure that that happens for you. But you have to really not just want it, but you have to almost believe that that has already happened to you. So
Right.
like, for instance, if I wanted to be able to run a 10K marathon, right? And if I'm not a runner right now, I wouldn't just necessarily say like, oh, I want to be a runner. I would say, I am a runner and I run 10K, even if I haven't yet, because eventually it becomes true once I put myself in a position to make that happen. And again, that comes with making and building good habits, making sure that I'm practicing so I can make that goal happen. So it doesn't mean that you just say you are something and then that just means that it happens for you. But rather you set intentions as if they are currently happening, and you do your best to align yourself with making those intentions true.
Nice. And I have one question on America. Would you like to run in a 5K marathon one day?
I would definitely be open to it. I actually really enjoy jogging, running. I've gotten out of it for a while because I had an injury, but I would really like to go back into it for sure. It's a very freeing experience to run around and get yourself a little out of breath, but to breathe fresh air and to see scenery. Totally different experience than being on a treadmill for an hour.
Right. Like every night I always work out on the treadmill, like sometimes 9:20, 9:30, and tonight I'll be working on the treadmill outside my house. And you mentioned you have an injury. What injury did you suffer?
Yeah, I had a part of my hip when I was running. I stepped on concrete like in a really weird way, and it just like immediately was just extremely painful. And it took me quite a while to recover from that. Like, I mean, it was months until I could walk without feeling that injury. So even after I wasn't in pain, it still was something that I was really careful about, like to not re-injure myself. So it's been a while, but I think I'm more ready now than I was then to be able to get back into it.
So you're ready to run a marathon?
I'm ready to build up to it.
Okay, next year,
Yeah.
hopefully you can run for the 20.
Or you should take my own advice, right? Yes, I am ready to run a marathon.
Yeah, you have it, folks. My girl Danielle, she's ready to run a marathon.
Ready for
especially
the marathon.
For the 2026 LA Marathon next year. So okay, you have it here first exclusively on David's podcast. Danielle, she's ready to run the LA Marathon next year. And I want to give a shout out to my neighbor Serena, who also runs marathons. Serena, this shout out too, because I know you're my neighbor, especially you like to run marathons, and she runs marathons. She runs all kinds of marathons. She does workouts like almost every day when she gets back from work, and Serena, she loves running marathons. As a matter of fact, her brother-in-law, Armando Duran, he works here at PCC. He's a counselor, so.
I think he's actually the dean of counseling. I
He
know
is.
him, yes. I actually just saw him earlier today in the library. So funny you mentioned him. Really great guy.
Yeah, he is a great guy. And Armando, if you're watching this podcast, get this podcast on YouTube, this episode is dedicated to you. All right. Now, my fourth question. My third question. I will skip number 3. My third question: are you worried about the tariffs when people buy books?
I think it definitely, the unknown can worry you about any topic, right? And I think with the tariffs, there is a lot of unknown as to what will actually happen versus what has been said will happen. And we've already seen this week that it's caused a lot of volatility. And I think particularly with books, there's always a possibility, even if books are printed here in the U.S., like there's sometimes a trickle-down effect when things change in price or the economy is changing. So absolutely, there's a concern there. I feel like, though, my greater concern for libraries would have to do with the executive order that is trying to defund the IMLS, which stands for the Institute of
Right.
Museums and Library Services here in the United States. It's one of the federal agencies, and actually the only federal agency that funds public libraries. So through that service, they provide access to the internet for a lot of rural communities, and they sponsor a lot of library programming. So that would be extremely devastating to a lot of communities if that funding goes away. So there is action in place right now through the American Library Association to sue the presidential administration that has brought forth that executive order. So we will see what happens with the IMLS. But definitely there are some great concerns here about the future of libraries and the sustainability of keeping libraries in service to our communities.
Now, I'm going to play a game called Role Play. Well, I'll pretend I'll be President Trump. And if you have a message to Trump, what will it be?
I don't think that was on the questions that you had for me, so I haven't considered it yet. I think that would be really challenging for me to answer because I don't know if given the opportunity to address the president directly, if I would take that opportunity.
Okay, we will just skip that.
Okay.
David, how dare you? Trump, get out of here. All right. All right, now, question number 4. Is there any other announcements you want to drop exclusively here on David's podcast?
Thank you for the opportunity. I actually do have an announcement I would love to share. So last time I was here, I shared that the library was doing a bookmark contest that anyone could enter, both students, and also there was a staff category. So I am pleased to share that I have brought with me the winners of our bookmark contest at PCC Library. So I can share them with your video listeners as well. Is this the camera that's your video is going to?
Yeah, this is the camera.
Okay, so let's take a look here. So in first place, we have Erica K. And the theme of our bookmark contest was Drawn to the Library. For our second place, we have Julia G. This was her bookmark that she created. And then in third place for our student category, we have Ariana B. And this was the one that she created. And for our staff category, our winner was Lisette A. And this is the bookmark that she created. And we'll make sure you get some images if you want to be able to share those on your social media when you're promoting the podcast.
Absolutely.
But really exciting that we got a lot of really wonderful entries. It was a hard decision for us to make of what position or what categories are the winners. But really exciting to do this contest. And coming up here soon, we will have copies of the bookmarks for folks to pick up for free in the library.
Nice. Okay. All right. Now, my last question to you is there anything you want to do in the future besides working in the library or teaching a class?
Yeah, so I actually am currently enrolled in a doctoral program on educational leadership. So I could see myself in a future part of my career, perhaps leaving a faculty position in order to be in some type of leadership role or administrative role. I don't think anytime soon for me. I really love being a librarian. I really love being an instructor and working directly one-on-one with students. So I don't see it for myself anytime soon, but I am putting myself in motion through education right now. So that way it's a potential opportunity for me in the future. So I think if anything could pull me away from working in this role, it would be to go on to a managerial level or some type of administrative role. So that way I could have some more ability to make sure that our students are being represented in the services that we provide and the opportunities that we provide to them through whatever school I'm working at that point.
Nice. And by the way, I want to give quick shout-outs, especially to my PCC pickleball class I'm taking Mondays and Wednesdays, especially Joy in the library, and my girl Cece, who was my classmate for my TVR film class. This shout-outs for you, Cece, and her job in passing is called a full rescore, which I even wrote in my English course last night. So this shout-out is for you. And at the same time, Danielle, I want to thank you for being my guest, especially welcome back on Gary's podcast. And like I said, we forgot. Yeah, my YouTubers. I'm gonna say people could see Danielle Rapue. She's works in the library in the desk. And Danielle, I want to thank you for joining me on Gary's podcast as my guest, especially walking back. And And this was a blast and fun at the same time.
Yes, it was very much a good time being here as always, and thank you for having me back. It's always so nice to have an opportunity to share information about the library. And for anyone listening, if you're curious about maybe going into working in a library for yourself, if that's a future career path you're curious about, or you just want help with research in the library or using the library, please reach out to me. I'm available upstairs in the LL building at the library and happy to help students. So, thank you for giving me the opportunity to share about libraries today.
Absolutely. We're here to for the libraries, especially the most right now. And folks, I want to thank you for watching. I want to thank you for joining on this podcast, episode 8. And next week, we will not be here because we will be on spring break. But
Woo, spring break.
yeah, we're on spring break next week. But the bad news is, are you working for spring break next weekend or your vacation?
I will be working during spring break. The library will be closed, but that's actually an opportunity for us library folks to kind of reset things and do some things that we do behind the scenes to get things ready for students when they come back.
So there you have it, folks. The library will be closed, but students like me, we will be on spring break. All right, everyone, have a good spring break, and we will talk to you after spring break for the 9th episode of this podcast, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.